Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the meeting of the Lebanon Utility Service Board for Wednesday, August 3rd, 2022. Please let the record show that all board members are present tonight and that the meeting was properly notified. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, first item tonight is the approval of our minutes from the July 20th, 2022 meeting. Everyone had a chance to review those minutes, and if so, I would entertain a motion to approve.
I make a motion we approve the minutes. Second.
Motion made by Bill, seconded by Jim to approve the minutes from the July 20th, 2022 meeting. Any additional discussion or questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, next action item tonight is an HR generalist position that was discussed in a working session. Do we want to, Ed, do you or Jeff want to speak on this briefly?
Yeah, I'll kind of set it up. We just came out of a working session where the board had a discussion on a new position for an HR generalist. Our current HR staff is doing an incredibly good job with traditional HR, but with the growth we're experiencing and the digital revolution, technology, we're looking to expand the services offered by HR to more employee relations, centralized contract management, learning, organization, intranet website stuff. So the board we had a very enlightened discussion over the course of an hour and decided to approve this position. So at this point, I would like to ask for a motion.
Okay.
All right. Any other discussion before we entertain a motion? Not, I would entertain a motion.
I make a motion that we move to approve the creation of a new position, HR generalist, and hiring of the same at a salary range of $50,000 to $80,000.
I'll second that motion.
I was just waiting for Neil to ask for a second. Okay.
Motion made by Bill, seconded by Jim to approve an HR generalist position with the salary range mentioned. Any additional discussion or questions?
I'm going to pre-explain my no vote. I appreciate the sharing of additional information during the working session. I feel like I better understand the intent of the position. I am not comfortable yet in thinking that the good intentions can be effectively carried out, and I would sincerely hope that I'm wrong. So if there's such a thing as a friendly no vote, this is what this will be.
All right, any other discussion or questions?
I will counter or follow up Aaron's statement. Just a little bit of background. For many years, Lebanon Utility has been reducing administrative and technical headcount. These reductions have allowed the utility to operate with leaner and more cost-efficient structure. While these reductions were occurring, Lebanon Utilities had stable business with little growth. Last fall, the Service Board had a robust discussion on the expanding needs of our utility based upon the explosive growth being projected for Lebanon and our utilities infrastructure. We aligned around the need for the addition of one administrative role, an HR director/generalist, and one technical role, an electrical engineer. As a member of the Personnel Committee, Vice President Stoner, General Manager Baskell, CFO Morgan, and I have met several times to discuss, review, and approve these positions. This HR position will allow us to provide more robust and detailed services to our employees. More importantly, this position should provide administrative relief to our management staff, including Ryan and Jeff, so that they can provide more focus to the myriad of issues facing our utilities due to the growth in our community. While my colleague and I may disagree on the outcome of this particular discussion, I appreciate that we can have these robust discussions either in a working session or in this environment regarding our business and the future possibilities that exist. Thank you.
Thanks, Tim. Thanks, Aaron. Any other comments or discussion? All right, have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
All right. That motion carries. Thank you, everyone. As Tim mentioned, that's the function of a board, is to have constructive conversation on these things, so thank you for that. All right, next item is information item, and it's the Lebanon Utilities Apprenticeship and Mentoring Program, and our General Manager, Ed Baskell, will address the board on this. Hey, Ed.
Thank you, Neil. Today I'm talking about the Lebanon Utilities Apprenticeship and Mentoring Program. The reason I'm talking about today is I want to set up a future working session discussion about potential upgrades to this employee advancement program. Also, I want to show our employees that they're appreciated by talking about it a little bit and explaining the value of our employees. I want to inform the public about this great asset to the community, the Lebanon Utilities employee. You see, there's many misconceptions about utility workers in general, be it electric, water, wastewater, telecom, or our office staff. I can tell you that one of my earliest memories was being dragged to school by my mother for a visit with the principal, and she walked me over to an open hole where a street crew was repairing a water main, and she pointed at the guy, and she was smoking her cigarette, and she said, "You're going to be a bum, just like him, a ditch digger." And she flicked her cigarette at the guy. I mean, people see people working in the street, and they think because one guy's working and one guy's watching it, that somebody's not working, when that guy's a safety man. I'll tell you that there was a sense in which my mom's prophecy came true, but she got everything else wrong. See, my mom, most people just don't know what we do. You see, right now, she got it right, and I'm the head ditch digger. I couldn't be prouder to be associated with my team of utility employees and team members working in the field. Our employees are sophisticated, highly trained team members who contribute to the organization regardless of what position they're in. People who do maintenance on our infrastructure are highly trained technicians who operate heavy equipment and have undergone hours of training and testing in order to be a competent person. I sent to the board just recently a sample of some of the training required of our people who work on excavations that should highlight this point. That's just the tip of the iceberg. Utility linemen and meter technicians go through a 4-year apprenticeship program. There's a combination of hands-on training and formal college-level classes that are the equivalent of a college degree, all paid for by the utilities. The linemen earn a Department of Labor certificate recognized nationally. Meter technicians, they get a degree from Ivy Tech. It's a work in progress getting recognition for the hard work put in by the utility linemen for a college degree, or our customer service people, or the water, wastewater people who've worked very hard with years of training to get their licenses. Now, I gotta tell you, sometimes I hear comments from the public that remind me of my mother's awkward ditch digger comment. Like, they'll say things to me like, "How much training do you really need to answer the phone?" Well, our CSAs in customer service, they go through intensive in-house training. There's over 40 hours of computer training just with NISC, our customer service software, and that's just the basic skills. Our people are team members who perform different and difficult jobs and are heavily trained and tested. I mean, they can answer questions on the fly like, what PPE do you need to work on a given job? What is PPE? That's personal protective equipment. What's the sludge age of the plant, and how does that help you knowing what that is? How do you work safely with live high voltage, in the rain, on a pole, up in the air? When is it safe to enter a street excavation? How do you do a locate? And what safety precautions do you use changing a chlorine cylinder? These are all questions our people have to be able to answer, and a lot of them are life or death questions. Apprenticeship and mentoring are extremely important in a utility, with much of our talent grown from within, turning jobs into careers. When you see one of my team members working in the street, please smile. Don't flick your butt at them the way my mom did, and just help them feel appreciated. So that's all I had. I was going to set up a future discussion on, hopefully you guys got the email links I sent on our Precipio training, and we can have a good discussion on that later. Thank you.
Right, thank you, Ed, appreciate that. All right, next item is an action item. It's the resolution 2022-03, non-recurring fees, and I believe Sandra will No? Is it going to be Jeff? Okay. Give Jeff a second here. He's passed this resolution out for us.
Thank you. This is a resolution on our non-recurring fees and charges that has been discussed at several working sessions, and I believe that this resolution reflects a summary adoption of those fees as has been in part recommended and presented by Baker Tilly. The reason for the new document is there were two changes that were made to the non-recurring fees and charges under water and wastewater dealing with meter deposits. And we've added the language for renters back in on both of those, and that's the only change from what you see in the board packet versus what is been handed out. We were initially targeting removing that language, but have done some additional research and are comfortable leaving it in. So having said that, I would be happy to read the motion. Whereas the City of Lebanon, Indiana owns and operates through its Utility Service Board municipal electric, water, wastewater, and telecommunication utilities known as Lebanon Utilities for the purpose of providing safe, reliable, and efficient utility services in and around the city pursuant to Indiana Code 8.1.5 et sec. as amended and other applicable provisions of Indiana law. And whereas the Common Council for the City of Lebanon, based upon recommendations from the board, periodically evaluates changes and readjusts its various fees and charges to collect sufficient revenue in order to pay all the expenses incident to the operation and maintenance of the utilities, including but not limited to improving its systems for existing customers and planning, budgeting, and expanding its facilities in order to serve new customers. Whereas the board engaged Baker Tilly Municipal Advisors, LLC, to evaluate the current utility non-recurring fees and charges and to make recommendations for adjustments. And whereas the board desires to harmonize across the various utilities and adjust its non-recurring fees and charges consistent with present-day costs reflective of its current operational expenses. Whereas the board desires to lessen the burden on existing customers paying for expansion by continuing to evaluate its various systems, capacities, and to plan and prepare for new development in and around the city to be served by the utility. Whereas the board desires to update the utility non-recurring fees and charges consistent with its findings and the Baker Tilly analysis, and whereas the utility non-recurring fees and charges adjustments are subject to Common Council for the City of Lebanon and Utility Regulatory Commission electric-only approval. And whereas based upon the foregoing, the board recommends to the City Council that it adopt an ordinance consistent with this resolution, revising the utility non-recurring fees and charges. Now therefore be it resolved that the Lebanon Utility Service Board recommends to the Common Council of the City of Lebanon, Indiana, that the utilities proposed non-recurring fees and charges attached to this resolution as Exhibits A, electric, B, water, C, wastewater, and D, telecommunications be approved, and be it further resolved that this resolution and the Baker Tilly analysis shall be delivered to the Mayor, City of Lebanon for distribution and discussion by the Common Council of the City of Lebanon.
All right, thank you, Jeff. Any questions for Jeff on this Resolution 2022-03?
I'd like to make a comment, please. This resolution includes availability fees that developers pay for the privilege of being a part of our community. These Lebanon in the near future and the foreseeable future will experience considerable growth. And if developers don't pay their fair share in one form of that is with availability fees, the existing ratepayers will be subsidizing those developers. Now, the availability fees that are being proposed are a significant increase, but that's because our projected growth and the need for additional water resources and the need for additional wastewater treatment capacity will be triggered by this growth. And I want to urge the City Council to please pass this version of their resolution so that these availability fees will be in place for the developers to pay their fair share in support of current ratepayers.
Thank you, Aaron. Any other comments, questions on this resolution? If not, I would entertain a motion.
I move to approve Resolution 2022-3, recommending approval of a revised schedule of the non-recurring fees and charges.
Second?
Motion made by Jim, seconded by Aaron, to approve the 2022-03 recurring fees. Any additional discussion?
I'd like to make a comment. I'm going to abstain because I'm on the Board of Works.
Thank you, Bill.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a quick comment also.
Okay.
We do have this, I hope scheduled, I had sent it out to City Council, so our plan is that this would be on the City Council meeting for the 8th and the 22nd. And then once that's complete for the electric piece, we will have to do a 30-day filing with the IURC and wait until that comes back before we can implement the electric rates.
Thanks for that information, Sandra. Anything else?
I just would like to express the opinion, this will be my most consequential vote since I've been on this board. And I look forward to voting yes.
All right, we do have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And Bill indicated that he is abstaining, so this motion carries. Thank you, everyone. All right, next item is an action item as well. It's the Shaker Square Lift Station, and our water wastewater manager, Ryan Eidinger, is here tonight. Hey, Ryan.
Hello, I have two lift stations, and they're basically an identical request. So I'll talk about the Shaker Square lift station, but understand that this is part of our ongoing program to make the lift station's electrical components all universal. We have a number of lift stations that have different parts and different components, and when you're hiring a new employee, it's difficult to train them on multiple components. And then we also have one of these cabinets, for instance, is over 20 years old. So if you can imagine technology 20 years ago compared to where we are today, the need for an upgrade is there. So what we have done is basically BBC Pumps has given us a general blueprint, for lack of a better term, for all of these cabinets. So that way, with supply chain issues, and when we have new employees and we're doing training, or they're out at 2 in the morning troubleshooting, it's going to be more of a universal component, and we can also have parts on the shelf that will be interchangeable with eventually every single lift station cabinet. I do have some before and after pictures of what, and I also do, before I jump too far ahead, I do have my wastewater collections supervisor, Cameron Kearney, here, so if there are any questions of more of the day-to-day stuff or what we're looking at, I can always refer to him, and he's definitely more versed in this field than me. But this is an old picture of the cabinet, and you can kind of see some of the older switches and electrical units, thermostats.
Is this one of our current cabinets?
Yeah, this is the Shaker Square one that I'm asking to be replaced. And then this is a prototype, or what we are going to as far as the universal cabinet. And you can see just the improvements with that. And then as an added safety feature, the current cabinet that we are looking at, or we are discussing, you can see the electrical components in the door. So the chances are rare, but you do have electricity flowing into that door as you walk up to it. And like I said, at 2 in the morning and 10 degrees and windy and snowy, you just don't know what you're walking into, but the new cabinet door, you can see here, has no electrical components whatsoever. So as a safety side of it goes, when you walk up to it and you are entering into that cabinet, at least you know that there is not electrical current in the cabinet door, and we can add another layer of safety. You know, nothing's ever 100%, but any layers that we can add between having any issues with safety in our employees, we want to do that. So the panel for Shaker Square Lift Station is 27 years old. And so it's time. Parts are becoming more and more difficult to find, and we're kind of MacGyvering to keep things running, and we don't want to do that anymore. And like I said, with supply chain issues, it's harder and harder just to find normal, everyday components, much less anything that would be a 27-year-old specialty item. The staff did reach out to 4 vendors, and I included the email responses from 2 of the vendors, and if we need Cameron to come up and speak, he can, on their relationship with BBC, and BBC not wanting to, intrude on that working relationship they have with them as a supplier, but we were able to garner 2 different quotes through BBC helped us originate those. So BBC kind of is going to do the installation, and so who we choose would not affect BBC as far as generating quotes for us. So they did help us find the lowest price. And there's a little bit of a difference. Cameron, would you be able to speak on the reason there is a price difference on these quotes?
Yeah, thanks, Ryan. I was going to ask, I see that, one's 23, one's 36, so pretty decent-sized gap there, so thanks, Cameron.
Yeah, so the reason CCT is so much cheaper is because it's more of a local company, where Simco, they service a lot of other companies, so it'd be harder to get parts through them. Different kind of parts, relays and stuff like that, switches, they use different kinds, but it's all the same, but CCT is a lot more local. They work with BBC, so does Simco, but yeah.
Okay. Good stuff, thank you.
And finally, budgetary-wise, we do have a line item in the budget for lift station repairs and upgrades, and it was $100,000. And so that's where I would, and I know it is 2 separate motions, but I would use that budgetary line item for both of these purchases. And I kind of did the math. So for this one, I took the $23,880 out of the original $100,000, and then also deducted that to show the remaining balance on the next agenda item, so we would know kind of where we were. And with it being August, we're about halfway through the year. I'm confident in that number holding as far as ordering and getting these installed. So I can answer any questions that anyone might have. I know I kind of went through a lot in a short period of time. And then obviously Cameron's here if you have any questions on the day-to-day or some of the issues that they might run into on a call-out or a troubleshooting situation.
Ryan, 27 years ago, I think my wife and I had a bag phone in our car. I know we had a landline, and we were a couple months from the birth of our second child. So it's like, that's a very, very old technology. My question is, we've got one, obviously, is 27 years old, the other one's 12 years old. What's the difference between those two, and why both of them? And then, is this our program now to go through all of our lift stations and harmonize our control panels?
It is our program, but it isn't one where we're just going to go in and automatically just do every one. But what we want to do is, and even with the age discrepancy, we're noticing a turning amount of issues with the one that's 12 years old and the one that, as it got older and it started to kind of snowball on us.
Yeah.
So we want to get ahead of that. That is what we want to do is, and we're kind of in the middle of, do we want to do it on an as-needed basis, or do we want to be a little bit more aggressive? Right now, the temperature is that we're, and with BBC, because these are custom built, they get the parts and then BBC custom builds to our specs. And so basically what we're doing is almost like our construction standards for putting a water main in. We're setting up specs and a design that is best for us. And the nice thing about it is, if we call BBC and we can say, hey, this light is on and that light is on, and with them doing the design, they can over the phone help us troubleshoot and avoid a call out and save some money. So yes, the overall goal is to make this a one universal blueprint, but we haven't done the rollout as far as we're doing it all in 1 year. We're doing it as needed, and Cameron came to me and saw that not the Shaker Square one, but the Edwards Drive lift station is starting to trend in that area, and it is different. It does have different components than even the Shaker Square. So yeah, we're trying to do more of a universal.
Do we have a service contract on these
With,
BBC pump?
well, so service, yes, but not, but on the design, they are designing it and installing it, and that is included in the price of
Do
the,
we have a service contract now?
yes, as far as the servicing goes, yes. As far
So
as,
they follow up and they check the components and panels and make sure everything's operational?
well, when we follow up, they don't come in and service them every year because that's just not what on these panels is necessarily needed, like maintenance on a vehicle. But we do have a service contract with them that for emergency call out, or if we need help just by phone, similar to the one that we would have with like an engineering firm, or someone like that, to where they could give us expert advice.
So no coming out once a year checking the operation of the units?
I don't want to speak out of turn, I don't believe that, do we do like a yearly update or
Anticipate
yearly
that.
maintenance?
I don't think that would be anticipated, Bill, not on a control panel.
When the new panels get installed, BBC will do a run-through with us, and they'll teach us different levels in the panel. And then if we want to, in a year's time, we can have them come out, look at the panel, make sure it's up to standards.
So it's not like a generator set or a transfer switch where you come out once a year
Yeah.
and go through the operation?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
But Ryan, is Shaker Square the oldest panel we have?
Cameron,
Or Cameron, is Shaker Square our oldest panel?
that is, the 27 years is the oldest one we have, right?
It's one of, the other one is gas company lift station.
Oh, yeah, so we do have a small lift station out past State Road 39 at the gas company. But is that, if I'm correct, is it just for the gas company? Is there any other businesses?
Gas company, and then Merit.
So it's more of a local lift station?
Yeah, it's
But I think I see where you're going with that, and we probably do need to look into,
I don't think it's unreasonable to have a plan if we're gonna standardize or synchronize our current technology, to bring a couple forward every year. Whether they need it or not, the technology is gonna continue to age.
yeah, I agree. And that's what we have talked about for next year's budget cycle, is to look into doing getting a time frame of how comfortable we are with not only just the panels working, but the technology that is in the panels, and what we can do to improve safety, improve our time being called out, and, so I think that's a great idea. We have talked about that internally, about adding a program that isn't just, hey, when this breaks, let's fix it, staying ahead of that. So I think that's a great idea. And to go back to your question, Bill, that is a great question. But with these, it's hit and miss as far as, you don't want to replace something unless it would go bad. But the way these panels are built, they have relays and they have backups in there. So if something were to go bad, we can still operate the lift station and then get it serviced without any downtime.
So internally, you do inspections?
Yeah, internally, the crew goes through and we get reports off of that, similar to like a SCADA report or
Okay.
to a Hawk Winds report. And they go through weekly and look at the run times to make sure that one pump's not running an abnormal amount of time. And if there is, then we start troubleshooting that to see
You
if,
physically go to the unit?
yes, they go and get run times. And then we also get data that is sent to us through like an OmniZone or a SCADA. But we do have guys that go out weekly and check the run times.
Yeah, and let me add on to that a little bit, and Tim, you got some great engineering insights. One of the things that Ryan and team worked on in the last couple of years is adding our standards onto and revising the city standards. Because if you look at the Shaker Square lift station, part of the reason it's called the Shaker Square lift station is guess what it got put in? With Shaker Square, probably by that development, which means it wasn't really, it was built to what our standards were at that time, which were virtually non-existent. So a lot of these older lift stations, they weren't built the way we want them to be built. Last place I had about the same size wastewater system, but it being Kentucky, we had 69 lift stations, and they were built all tied to 69 different developers. Some of them were NEMA 4 enclosures, some of them weren't. Some of them had, what you really want is to have like 2 seal detect lights on each pump and have it so it rotates the pumps automatically, so you can pull the pump when it tells you there's a problem before you have to replace the whole pump. This will do that. It'll end up saving money in the long run, and I think it's a good
In any
project, so.
components of a lift station, I think we would like to avoid run to failure if we can set up a plan for replacement.
Absolutely.
And I understand, we can respond, there's lots of things we can do, and I know we're going through pump replacements and things, but lift stations are pretty important.
Oh, absolutely. And to Ed's point, Ed brings up a good point. These blueprints and standards that we have established for the panels we're getting ready to put on are the same ones that we passed on to the new developments. So as they build the lift station, as they're building them privately, but they're doing it to all of our specification and engineering standards, and BBC is directly working with them to make sure that that panel has the same blueprint as all the other panels that we have. So as we move forward, all of these panels will be universals, and which will, like Ed said, will help with the troubleshooting and the safety and just making sure that they operate efficiently, because that is one thing that we can't afford to go down. A lift station going down wreaks havoc for all the ratepayers that are affected by it. So we want to make sure to avoid that.
All right, thank you, Ryan and Cameron. Anything else on item 7 here, which is the Shaker Square lift station and the Edwards Drive lift station? Ryan, anything else to add before we entertain motions? We have 2 different motions, one for each lift station. All right, if not, I'd entertain a motion for the Shaker Square lift station.
I make a motion we approve the purchase of an electrical panel and all components for Shaker Square lift station from Custom Control Technology with BBBC pump, providing installation in the amount not to exceed $23,880.
Second.
Motion made by Bill, seconded by Tim to approve the Shaker Square lift station electrical panel upgrade in an amount not to exceed $23,880. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. And now the second motion for the Edwards Drive lift station.
I move to approve the purchase of an electrical panel and all components for the Edwards Drive lift station from Custom Control Technology with BBC pumps, providing the installation in an amount not to exceed $23,880.
Second?
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Bill to approve the Edwards Drive lift station electrical panel upgrade in an amount not to exceed $23,880. Any additional discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you, gentlemen, appreciate it.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay, next item is the approval of our claims, payroll, and transfers dated August 3rd, 2022. Everyone had a chance to review those items, and if so, I would entertain a motion.
I move to approve the claims, payroll, transfers dated August 3rd, 2022 in the amount of $1,464,991.38 for claims and payroll and $162,527 for transfers.
Second.
Motion made by Jim, seconded by Bill to approve the claims, payrolls, and transfers dated August 3rd, 2022. Any additional discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. And now we are at any other business for the board. Any board members tonight have anything additional? How about our general manager?
Yeah, I have a couple of things, if you don't mind.
Okay.
I'd like to, I guess, call Jeff Greeno up to the podium and tell us about to kind of accept a shout out for the great job his team did the other night at Maynard's, because they had a transformer that fell off of its, it was a $60,000 transformer that could have been damaged, and they arranged it so they could fix it at night, and a little birdie told a board member about it, and mysteriously pizza showed up at lunchtime for those guys that worked all night, and we thank them very much for that, Neil. So, but I figured I'd give Jeff an opportunity to tell about what happened.
Yes, we had an equipment failure happen at Menards. The fiberglass transformer box that was installed several years ago had collapsed with the weight from that transformer that was on it. The weight that was on the transformer weighed 15,000 pounds, so it just over time, it collapsed from whatever reason. We got with Menards and a crane company, and we scheduled an outage, and we took the old transformer off and put a new transformer pad on. The new transformer pad we used is a little more beefier transformer pad, so it should last hopefully forever. Another item I'd like to bring up, if I could, what the crews accomplished. A little over a year ago, we purchased a three-phase line reclosure for the annexation. The crews finished getting that installed last week, and I have a picture, if I can show you of it. That's what it looks like. This is located at the corner of 100 South and Perryworth Road. What this does, if there's a electrical issue past that point going south, this piece of equipment will operate and protect the breaker at the substation. It'll also help isolate if there is a fault and it opens up, it won't take it all the way back to the substation, which will be central substation. So I just wanted to give them a shout out for getting that installed. And
We have more of those? Oh, is that?
this is the first one that Lebanon Utilities has, a three-phase reclosure. We do have a couple single-phase ones for long single-phase tap lines, but this is the very first one that Lebanon Utilities has.
Yeah, well, thanks, Jeff. Yeah, I remember when we ordered that, I didn't know you got to put it in. That's awesome. That's, 'cause it was on back order a long time.
It took a while getting all the parts in, because supply chain issues, so, but it's installed and it is working properly.
Our ratepayers may or may not ever know that occurred, but they'll sure appreciate it when their electricity stays on and it's an isolated incident.
Yes.
Definitely.
Okay, thanks.
I would like to make a comment about that Menards job. You sort of glossed over the fact there that you were there from 10:30 at night till 4:30 in the morning.
Oh, yes, they were out all night long. It was a pretty long,
It
drawn-out
was,
job. And I also want to say thank you to, we had help from the sewer wastewater. They brought their vac truck, and those gentlemen helped too. I want to
Right,
tell them thank you.
I was with them that morning, so they not only worked their regular shift, they were there till 4:30 in the morning. So this backs up the point that Ed was making earlier about the dedication and professionalism of our employees. and how it's neighbors serving neighbors, and this was a great example. And I was there for a period of time. It was quite a spectacle watching that rented crane lift that 15,000-pound transformer, and then the collection crew collecting all that gravel so the new fiberglass pad could be put in. It was quite a deal.
Good stuff. Thanks, Jeff, appreciate that.
Yeah, and I have one more thing, and besides correcting myself that it's Menards, not Maynards, right? I say it wrong. A northerner, I guess. But I'd like to call up Sandra Morgan to the podium for a second, because I just wanted to recognize her because she just completed the APPA Public Power Manager certification. That's a difficult certification to get. I really feel very well supported in my efforts to make people get trained and do apprenticeships, because here she has gone above and beyond. Statistically, because I'm a numbers guy, I guess, only about half the people that sign up for this program complete it. And she completed it. It took over a year. She had to write a paper. And actually, Sandra, can you just expound on, tell everybody how hard it was doing this program and tell them what you learned from it?
It was very difficult. What I did is I went down to an APPA class in Oregon, and it was a week-long class on management, leadership, personality styles, and all of that. And then they give you a year to complete a project, and the project normally ends up being 20 to 30 pages, and it takes you several months to complete that. So I ended up doing my project on communication throughout the organization and analyzing the DISC styles and personality styles of not only my department, but a few people from metering, water, wastewater, and electric also. So we pulled in all of those people. We started monthly meetings with each of the different groups in customer service just to try to enhance all of that. And the good news is I think I passed in either May or June, and then I got my certificate just this last week or so. So I was really proud because it was hard, but it was worth it. So thank you for the opportunity for us to be able to do those types of things.
Congratulations, good job, Sandra.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, that's all.
Thank you.
As a geek, I think it's awesome.
Thanks.
All right, any other business from the board or our general manager?
No, I think Ryan's talked enough, so I won't call him up for anything, so.
All right, any public comment? It doesn't look like there's any public here tonight. Anything you're aware of, Ed?
No, sir.
All right, next meeting looks like scheduled for Wednesday, August 17th at 5 p.m. Anything else before we adjourn? Entertain a motion to do so.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Excuse me, second.
By Bill, seconded by Tim to adjourn. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, we stand adjourned. Thank you, everyone.